What's up, everyone? It is Sean Evans here with OddChopper, bringing you another CSGO video for you guys. We are kicking off tomorrow, Thursday, with 3 Blast Premier event series warming up for the IEM Rio Major in 2 weeks. We have Big versus SANGAL, Heroic versus ECSTATIC, and MiBR versus TeamOne. We are going to go over each series and what side we do like for them. And before we do dive into that, make sure you do click the like and subscribe button down below, turn the notifications on. That way you guys always get notified when we do post new videos. Obviously, we have every single sport in rotation now. NBA is back, the NFL season, college football, NHL, and the MLB playoffs, so you do not want to miss out on a single video. Without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Kicking off the day for Thursday at 7:45 a.m. Pacific time, we have Big versus SANGAL. Big obviously coming in at the favorites, 314, and SANGAL are the dogs at 245. For Big to sweep, they're actually at plus odds of 104, and for SANGAL to extend this 3 maps, they are at the odds of the favorite side at 126. So obviously, it is going to be a little bit difficult for SANGAL to do that. Going over the Big side first, Big will be continuing playing with their Academy member Sin over Faven for the rest of the year. Obviously, Faven missed out on the play-in stage of IEM Rio due to an illness, and without messing up any of the chemistry or the team form, Big has elected to move forward with Sin for this Blast Premier event, and then obviously the Challenger stage, which they have set for themselves, going 3 for 3 at the play-ins for IEM Rio, and one of those wins were versus SANGAL, where they won 16-3, complete dominance for them. And once again, I see that happening here for them. SANGAL, they are a team that is struggling, and they do struggle versus TeamOne or Tier 1 teams, as they have yet to win a series versus them in the past 3 months. And the only bright side for them in their past 5 series, they have secured 2 victories in that. Overall, they are going to struggle here once again versus Big, as Big continues working on their team form with Sin in rotation and preparing for IEM Rio. I do have them playing Dust 2 and Overpass with the map decider if somehow SANGAL extends this to 3 maps on Vertigo. But overall, I do not think that's going to be happening. I think Big just comes out and does a complete dominance of SANGAL. Once again, just like that best of 1 series that they saw 2 weeks ago. And real quick, as a player side-by-side comparison for the 2 teams over on HLTV.com, you can see the player ratings here. Obviously, for SANGAL, they see more Tier 2 action, so these player ratings aren't skewed towards Tier 1 type teams. SoulFi currently holds a 1.18 player rating. Kaibu has a 1.15 player rating. Fizzy's at a 1.10, Corey's at 1.08, and Skrunk is at 0.97. But once again, this is not against teams like Big. It's more against teams in the Tier 2 section. And then looking at the Big side, Sin's obviously from their Academy team, so he sees more Tier 2 teams, and so his average is not versus good teams or Tier 1 teams that Big is used to seeing. More of that at the IEM Rio play-in. He did put up a 0.98 player rating, but Tabson and Saracen really liked how he gelled with the team, and they see great things coming from him, even if that player rating isn't that high. So really, Tabson and Saracen lead the way. Tabson at a 1.15, Saracen's at a 1.10. Then you have Crimbo at a 0.96 and Keto at a 0.95. Usually player ratings like this is not a good thing, but going up against SANGAL, I think it is okay. And like I keep saying, Big is most likely going to dominate them. And that's why I like their chances of sweeping in the match handicap at 1.5 for Big to sweep at plus 104 odds is what I'm going to be playing at least a unit on it over at Pinnacle. I think Big easily makes this a sweeping opportunity for them. I think it's a pretty quick series. I think they kind of dominate them. I think we see something similar of 16-3, 16-6 type performance coming from Big. So overall, I do like them sweeping at the plus 104 odds of not allowing this to go over 2 maps. And that is what I will be playing. And before we get into the next series, If you have yet to sign up at Underdog Fantasy, make sure you use promo code STOCHASTIC8. That is the number 8. That way you get a match deposit bonus up to $100. That's free house money to play. And like I said in the beginning, we have every single sport in rotation. We have the NFL, we have college football, we have baseball playoffs, NHL, and NBA just kicked off. That is a lot of free house money to use to make slips. And especially on top of that, we have CSGO League of Legends. Worlds kicks off once again on Thursday. So you do not want to miss out on it. You want to be using that free house money. So use promo code STOCHASTIC8, the number 8, when signing up at Underdog Fantasy and joining on the fun and the action with us. And now moving on to the second series, which will be a very one lopsided affair. Heroic versus Ecstatic. Heroic comes in at the favorites of 822, and then you have Ecstatic as the dogs at 551. With them somehow with the handicap of extending this to 3 maps at plus 163, and for Heroic to sweep is at the favorites of 200. And then obviously you have the total match over 2.5 maps at plus 203, and then for it to go under 2, you have 255. This is going to be a very quick breakdown and a very quick series overall for Heroic. Heroic is coming off of a 4-game win streak, setting himself up for more success at the Blast Premier event. A huge part of that is Cadian improving his player rating once again to a 1.12 player rating to be right behind Stavin, who leads the team. But on top of that, Cadian sees maps a whole different way. His communication is top tier, and with him being on top of his game, with his communication, Heroic is going to be a very dangerous team. The only person who is still settling in is Yabi. Obviously, he holds a 1.01 player rating, but he is getting his feet settled in with Heroic still. He came from Copenhagen Flames, where he did dominate, and he will be dominating with Heroic. We have seen some maps and some series where he does step up big time, and he wins rounds for them. But overall, this Heroic team is just going to come out and flat out dominate Ecstatic, who is currently being swept at a 40% rate, and their team form rating is very, very low. It is underperforming, and comparing it to Heroic, they are nowhere near them in competing anything like that. They pull the short end of the stick, and they will most likely just have a very quick series and move on with their day tomorrow versus Heroic. Map wise, I do have them playing Overpass and Vertigo, and then obviously Inferno as a map decider. We could even see Overpass and Inferno being the first 2 maps. But anyway, we shuffle maps in, or whatever maps they do play, Heroic is going to sweep them. We can look at the side-by-side comparison for these players over at HLTV, and it is very one-sided. Looking at Ecstatic, their top player is Cabby at a 1.04, and that's against more teams in the Tier 2 section than the Tier 1, so this is not going to be a very good thing for them. Then you have Kragan at 1.01, Minx at 1.0, Brazier at 0.97, Queenix at 0.94. And then you look at the Heroic side, you have Stavin at a 1.13 player rating, Cadian at 1.12, Tessus at 1.09, Sush at 1.09, and then Yabi at 1.01. So overall for this, the only bet that I do like, which I would be throwing about 2 units on, is Heroic sweeping with the handicap under 2 maps for them to sweep at 200 odds favorites, because that's most likely what's going to happen. I would be very shocked if Ecstatic comes out and steals a map from them. I just think Heroic is going to keep working on their game and be able to sweep them overall. So that is the main play for Heroic versus Ecstatic, and the only one that I will be eyeing. There's not much more to look at. Ecstatic might be able to push forward with some maps and extend their map going forward, but they're not going to be able to steal one. So with that, moving forward, going to the final series of the day, which is the North American Series, MiBR versus TeamOne. MiBR are the favorites at 187. TeamOne is the dogs at 152. For MiBR to sweep, though, the handicap is at plus 151, and I'll get more into that. That is a little bit shocking to me. And then for TeamOne to extend this 3 maps at the favorite odds of 185. Looking at this, MiBR has swept TeamOne both times they've faced them this year. The most recent series was pretty dominant by them. The first series, TeamOne was able to extend maps. Overall, they could not close them out. The tough thing that makes this a little bit difficult and interesting MiBR is coming off their first win in their past 5 series. So while things did get bad, it looks like they might be turning things around. And overall, their players are performing pretty well, with just Turtle being the only player that is not above a 1.10 player rating. And we'll get into the side-by-side comparison of the two teams in a second. Then looking at TeamOne, they're currently on a 4-game losing streak. They're trying to figure things out. They're not having any success. But just similar to MiBR, all their players besides Turk are above 1.10 also. Turk is at a 1.09 rating. And so looking at these players side by side is going to be very interesting. And one other thing for TeamOne, when momentum is on their side, they have a pretty successful rate at sweeping teams. And neither of these teams are, tier 1 type top ranking teams. They both are pretty similar when you look at it. It's just one side is going to be better than the other. And so looking at the players side by side, like I said, they're very similar. You have Hinwon and Malbs, both sides at a 1.17 player rating. You have Jodo at a 1.13, Brazen at 1.12. You have Exit at 1.11. Then you have Turtle at 1.04. And then looking at TeamOne, you have Malbs at 1.17, Pasado at 1.16, IDK at 1.11, Maluk at 1.10, Turk at 1.09. So player rating wise, TeamOne is pretty good. Their team form is just not coming together. Recently, as you can see, their losses have been versus Nouns, Fluxo, Ints, and Imperial. And then you look at MiBR, their main win is versus Iron Blood recently. They lost to 9Z, Isurus, ATK, and then also they did push Team Liquid into overtime on land. And so it is going to be a very interesting series. But with it and keeping up with what I believe is a sweeping Thursday, I do believe MiBR is the better team, and they will come out and they will sweep TeamOne. I think TeamOne will continue their bad streak, their bad luck streak, and make it 5 losses in a row. I think MiBR pushes this and gets their sweep, and I will be playing a unit on the handicap for them to sweep at plus 151 odds over at Pinnacle. I think that MiBR has the better team. The communication is a lot better. And with the year that they've had, I think they're going to finish this year off pretty strong with more impressive wins and with better performances, especially with everything for TeamOne just not working out most recently. MiBR, obviously, the team that they swept isn't the best team, but neither is TeamOne. And TeamOne can get beat up on pretty bad. So I have MiBR sweeping, Heroic sweeping, Ecstatic, and big sweeping SANGAL to make it a sweeping Thursday overall for us. And with that, if you have yet to join the Odd Shopper Premium Insider Access, make sure to sign up using the promo code SE Insider when signing up over at Odd Shopper. That way you get into the Discord and you get your first week free, and you can join my Discord where I give more plays, more Underdog fantasy slips, prize pick slips, and covering more bets for League of Legends, for CSGO, even Dota 2 and Valorant when they do return, and Call of Duty season when it is happening. So do not miss out on that. Click the like and subscribe button down below. Turn the notifications on. That way you don't miss out on any of the videos that we do have posted for you guys with all the sports in rotation right now. That is it. I'm out. Good luck.